What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and let's get straight into things. So I'm going to start on the weekly, and as you can see, we traded right down to the consequent encroachment level, which I drew our attention to in yesterday's video. If you look at the low, it says, look up here, the low says 104.08, and the consequent encroachment I brought our attention to is 104.086. So that's literally like, what, 6 pips off? You can't make that stuff up. Clearly algorithmic, and then you can see our price came off of it quite nicely on the Thursday. So pretty much the whole of Thursday we were trading higher. We did come down. It does say that we made the low on Thursday, but if we drop down to the 1 hour, you'll see that it was actually Wednesday where we made the low during the Asian range and then traded higher. So whether I class this as a Thursday reversal or not is quite difficult, but generally speaking, we traded higher during Thursday. Like, we pretty much just only, sorry, let me make this make sense. We were only trading higher the whole of Thursday, so I don't really want to see any low prices for the rest of the week, purely because I am classing it as a Thursday reversal, meaning that I'd want to continue to see price tread on higher. So what does that mean? Well, we do have a fair value gap right here. Excuse me. We do have a fair value gap right here that I would like to see price potentially trade up into, and then I'd like to think that this was the low of the week. So let's drop down to the 4 hour. Just get a better look at price. You'll see again, Wednesday we made that low, and then Thursday we've just been trading up on higher. Again, wicking, creating that fair value gap, and right now we're just coming off of that. So moving into tomorrow, what I'm going to be watching, the lowest I'd expect, if we are to continue up into this fair value gap, the lowest I'd want to see price trade is into this range right here. So just to make things a little bit more clear, let's keep this fair value gap red, and we'll make it dashed for the midpoint. That's going to be the highest I'd expect price to trade. And then this is an inversion fair value gap. Why? We delivered on the downside, closed on the upside. So now when price returns back to it, I'd expect it to act as a springboard to then send price higher. So preferably, I'd like to think that this will provide support. So moving into Friday, as price trades into this, I'll be looking for price to turn around at this point to then trade on higher and start looking for Thursday's high as a potential target. If we trade through this and it gives way, then I'd expect that Thursday's low may be a potential target. But until then, I'd like to think that this will provide support, and we can look for buys on dollar once it's in there, and obviously shorts on the pairs at the same time. So let's go to the 1 hour, and you can see how we created that high, came lower. We've just traded up into a breaker on the 15 minute, I believe. But like I said, once price reaches this point, moving into the London kill zone and Asia, I'll be looking very closely to see how price acts around this level. Again, preferably providing support for price. Let's go to the 15 minute, and you'll see the breaker we just traded into right here. So what you'll find is that we have a high, a low, a higher high, and then price delivered to the downside, back into the breaker, and that's why we're getting a nice reaction off that now. But yeah, overall, moving into tomorrow, I want to see what does price do when it gets here. Are we getting a reaction? And if we do, I'd then expect Thursday's high to be targeted for buy side liquidity. If this gives way, I'll simply start looking for this as a potential low. But yeah, it's been a crazy week, guys, and we should definitely be careful with our risk management. Let's now head over to GBP USD. We'll start here on the weekly, and you'll see how we traded higher. And yeah, again, if we're expecting higher dollar, that means we should be expecting lower GBP USD, which is completely fine. So we just about missed this high, which is fine. If we go to the daily, you'll see how we've just wicked up. There are now relative highs up here, but like I said, price very may well just leave that for leave that as like liquidity for a new week. So I'm not really too concerned about price getting up there. What we do have now is a rejection block level, and I'll show you that. So this is a rejection block level right here. So let's just type rejection block level. And then we also have a fair value gap down here as well, a massive one. Now I'm not going to draw this all out because we also do have this range as well. So we should definitely get the consequent encroachment marked out of here. And we'll make that dashed. And then we have the low as well off the wick, off the daily wick as liquidity. So you can see we've got both, premium PD arrays and sell side PD arrays to be key enough off for price. If, like I said, dollar does want to trade on higher, that means we should be looking for shorting opportunities on the pound. So let's go to 4 hour, and you'll see that rejection block lines up nicely with this bearish order block on the 4 hour. So again, if dollar wants to trade lower first, pound will trade higher. potentially into this bearish order block, and that will be a shorting opportunity to then run towards that consequent encroachment level and that sell side liquidity created on Thursday. Do excuse me, guys. And then on the hour, again, you can see the rejection block levels up right here. We have a slight mitigation, high, low, lower high, traded lower. So as price trades into that, I'll be looking to see, okay, does it want to turn around? And if that's the case, perfect shorting opportunity with the expectation to run on lower. So really pretty simple. Again, like I said, we do now have relative equal highs up here, but because we're at the end of the week, and you know, we still got a week off May left and such, price may want to come and grab that liquidity at a later point. Don't get me wrong, it can do it on a Friday, but preferably I'd like to think that this was the Thursday reversal that we witnessed, and therefore any kind of premium should be a shorting opportunity to send price into lower prices. So I hope that all makes sense. Let's now finish up with Euro USD. We'll start here on the weekly as well, and you can see how we traded higher, running out a lot of highs on a weekly basis. And what I'm going to bring our attention to here is this gap again. I've been talking about this gap quite a lot. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know this is going to be, now this gap should provide support. Why? We've traded through on the upside very bullishly and closed on a daily basis as outside of it. So if price comes down here, I'd expect it to provide support, but like I said, it's likely that price will make its way down here, assuming that dollar is going to trade on higher. So one thing to take note of is that Euro actually took out this high, whereas we know that pound failed to do so, right? So that means there's obviously more weakness on pound for one, and then on dollar, the same low as well. Dollar failed to take out that low. So we're seeing strength in dollar, we're seeing weakness in pound, and Euro's the only one that's decided to take out the high. So that is suggesting that we're likely going to see some lower pricing. Moving into the new day. So I'm going to get a few things blocked out. Again, we have a rejection block level right here. We have this fair value gap right here on the daily. Let's make it blue because it's going to overlap. And then obviously this is that massive weekly gap I was talking about that should provide support. So in terms of targeting, price will very may well trade down to the 50% level, which is pretty much lined up perfectly with the top of that inversion level from the weekly. I hope this all makes sense, guys. Let's now drop down to the 4 hour. So what you'll find, again, price is kind of consolidating. If we do wick up, we have a nice bearish order block to be shorting from, relative equal highs with the expectation to run for that Thursday low, and again into this range and an implied fair value gap lining up with that daily fair value gap. So yeah, again, should be pretty simple, so to speak, assuming we do want to move lower and then dollar does want to continue on higher. Here's the hourly. Again, we very may well run out this high, trade up. We've got a nice breaker, this down close candle here that price may want to trade into before offering shorting opportunities to run on lower. Let me just double check if we do have news. I do believe there is. So tomorrow we do, Euro does have high impact news, so that might help us with movement and such. So definitely keep an eye on Euro. But again, any kind of rallies above the midnight candle, I'd be looking for shorting opportunities to send price lower. So yeah, that's going to be everything, guys. I hope that all makes sense. Very interesting week. But I'll be back on Sunday, of course. Don't forget to join the mailing list. The link is in the description. Subscribe, drop a like, join the Discord, and I'll catch you guys on Sunday. Peace.